What if I told you that the key to unlocking the wealth you've been praying for is already inside your hands, but you've been too distracted, too anxious, too scattered to recognize it? You think wealth is a matter of money. It's not. It's a matter of spirit. And until your spirit aligns with clarity, discipline, and divine purpose, every dollar that enters your life will slip through your fingers like sand. The most powerful men I've ever known and I've sat across, from presidents, financiers, industrial titans, all shared one thing in common. They mastered silence. They learned to hear what others ignored. They knew when to act, and more importantly, when not to. And nothing trains this inner clarity more profoundly than the words I read every morning before touching a single coin. Yes, I'm talking about a psalm. But not just any psalm. I'm talking about a code. A spiritual formula that reshapes the soil of your mind until it becomes fertile for abundance. Psalm 1. If you're willing to listen, not just with your ears, but with your whole being, if you're ready to stop repeating the same spiritual noise that's kept you broke in circles, then this is not just a video. It's your turning point. Let me ask you something. What if the voice of God had already spoken the principles for your financial freedom, but your lifestyle, your habits, your mental laziness drowned them out? Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. That's how it starts. Do you know what that means in practical terms? It means the richness of your life depends not on what you're chasing, but on what you're refusing. Who are you allowing to speak into your life? What opinions are you following? What patterns are you submitting to that have no divine endorsement? I refused the counsel of the ungodly early. When others told me to take shortcuts, I walked away. When they laughed at my notebooks, my accounting ledgers, my obsession with efficiency, I smiled. Because I wasn't chasing approval. I was chasing alignment. And alignment brings wealth, always. But his delight is in the law of the Lord. And in his law doth he meditate day and night. You want to change your financial life? Start by changing what you meditate on. Not just once in a while. Daily, repeatedly, relentlessly. What you obsess over, you become. And if your mind is constantly marinating in fear, in scarcity, in what others have that you don't, then no strategy, no business idea, no inheritance will ever be enough. You'll self-sabotage it all. I've seen heirs burn through fortunes that took generations to build. Why? Because they never rewired their inner poverty. I didn't come from wealth. I wasn't born with golden spoons in my mouth. My father was a traveling salesman, charming, manipulative, reckless. My mother, a woman of prayer, discipline, and relentless simplicity. From her I learned the true foundation of all wealth, order. I used to tithe every dime I earned, not because I was religious, but because I understood the principle. Money must obey you. And the first step to that obedience is learning to release it with reverence. When I read, "He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water," I saw my own life. You want to stop being shaken by every market downturn, every crisis, every betrayal. Then stop being a leaf. Become a tree. A tree doesn't move with the wind. It doesn't panic when winter comes. It draws from deeper waters, that the deeper your roots, in discipline, in spiritual clarity, in vision, the higher you rise. That's not poetry, that's architecture. It's the blueprint of wealth. Now hear this, "Whatsoever he doeth shall prosper." That verse haunted me, because I knew it wasn't promising magic. It was demanding alignment. God does not prosper noise. He does not bless confusion. He blesses the man who stands where he is planting him, who rejects distraction, who meditates with focus, who moves in silence, who builds in excellence. You see, most people pray for wealth while tolerating habits that repel it. You say you want freedom, but your mornings are ruled by chaos. You speak of abundance, but your schedule is dictated by emotion, not by mission. That's not spiritual warfare. That's self-sabotage. When I started my first business, I worked with monastic precision. I didn't allow gossip, complaints, or comparison in my circle. Not because I was better than others, but because I was guarding my garden. The soil of the mind must be protected. Ideas are seeds. Every conversation is a planting. Be ruthless in your environment. You want wealth? Start acting like soil matters. I'm not teaching you a psalm to make you feel inspired. I'm inviting you into a new order, an inner economy of discipline, reverence, silence, execution. Psalm 1 is not a poem. It's a framework, a divine formula for dominion. And this is where most people miss it. They think God will bless what they feel passionate about. But God blesses structure. He blesses diligence. He blesses what is governed. So before you ask for more, ask yourself, am I governing what I already have? Am I planting daily the seeds of vision, mastery, efficiency, obedience, clarity? Or am I asking God to bless weeds I refuse to pull? There's a reason, I said. The best philanthropy is a well-run business, because structure creates blessing. Efficiency multiplies impact, and discipline invites divine endorsement. So let me ask you, very directly, what are you meditating on day and night? What do your thoughts dwell on when no one's watching? Because that, not your salary, not your market, not your clients, is the real root of your wealth. The soil of the mind is like the earth where you plant your trees. If it is cluttered with doubts, fears, and distractions, no matter how good your seed, your harvest will be poor. This is the silent truth few dare to admit. Wealth begins in the unseen. When I started my business ventures, I didn't just manage ledgers and contracts. I managed my inner world. The greatest battles I fought were not against competitors but against my own impulses. The temptation to panic, to take shortcuts, to boast or become complacent. Those were my real adversaries. Remember, the ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Chaff is worthless. It floats on the surface, easily blown away by any storm. Too many people build their fortunes on chaff-unstable ideas, momentary trends, unsound ethics. Their empires crumble like dust because their foundation is not rooted in lasting principles. I chose a different path. I anchored my vision in faith and fortitude. Every decision was measured not only by potential profit but by alignment with a higher purpose. This is not about religion in a narrow sense. It is about spirituality that commands your actions and decisions, that disciplines your emotions, that grants you calm amid chaos. I learned that true wealth liberates. It frees you to serve others, to build institutions, to endure crises without losing direction. It does not enslave you to greed or fear. The psalm teaches us, therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment. Judgment here is not just divine verdict. It is the natural consequence of chaos within. Disorder within leads to collapse without. I advise you to practice this daily. Reject counsel that feeds doubt. Meditate on clarity, discipline your desires, and structure your actions. Wealth without discipline is a house built on sand. Look at the men who rise to greatness. They are masters of themselves first. Their emotions, their focus, their habits, all serve a grander vision. They do not scatter their energies on trivial pursuits or idle complaints. You ask, how do I cultivate this mindset? Begin small. Start by silencing the noise around you. Limit your intake of negative information. Cut off distractions that drain your willpower. Guard your mornings. Before you engage with the world, engage with your inner counsel. Read, reflect, plan. Make your first actions each day deliberate. A prayer, a meditation on your goals, a commitment to discipline. I did this. When others wasted time on frivolity, I kept meticulous records of every penny, every minute, every promise made and fulfilled. This practice built the roots of my fortune. You may not have a ledger in front of you right now, but you have your mind. The discipline you cultivate here determines the wealth you attract outside. And remember, wealth is not simply possession, it is capacity. Capacity to endure, to innovate, to give, and to lead. Psalm 1 ends with the promise, and he shall be like a tree that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The fruit is your results, your influence, your legacy. But it is only possible if your roots drink from the right source: discipline, faith, clarity, and wise counsel. No storm can topple a well-rooted tree. Let this psalm be your guidebook. Recite it. Reflect on it. Let its rhythm shape your day. In times of doubt, return to this truth. The ungodly counsel leads to ruin. The deliberate man who walks in order and meditates on purpose builds an unshakable foundation. I am here not just to tell you to believe, but to train you to act every day with the steadiness of that tree. That is how fortunes grow, not in wild bursts, but in consistent, deliberate growth. Now, I invite you to share this with your circle, those who will hold you accountable, those who will challenge you to rise higher. Because you do not build empires alone, you build them with a tribe of disciplined minds. What part of your inner landscape will you begin to cultivate today? Reflect on this and share it with me. Let me speak plainly. The path to wealth is not a secret guarded by the elite, nor a mystery only for the lucky. It is a discipline accessible to any man or woman willing to master their own mind and spirit. This psalm, this ancient wisdom, is the compass that guided me from a modest boy in a small town to the architect of an empire. I remember my earliest days, carrying out errands for neighbors, counting every penny, recording each transaction with a steady hand. The habits formed then, humble as they were, became the scaffolding of everything I built later. You see, the power of this psalm lies not only in its words, but in the transformation it demands. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. This means you must learn to say no to voices that tempt you into rash decisions, quick gains, or compromise, nor standeth in the way of sinners. Avoid the path that shortcuts integrity. Every empire built on deception is a house of cards waiting for the wind, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Do not rest among those who mock diligence, faith, and patience. Scorn is the weapon of fear, wielded by those unwilling to endure the slow, steady march of true progress. Instead, his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Delight is not mere obedience. It is joy in discipline, satisfaction in alignment. It is the unshakable peace of knowing you are building not just wealth, but a legacy. If you are serious about changing your financial destiny, then this psalm is your daily bread. Digest it, let it nourish your vision. Let it saturate your decisions. Too many seek shortcuts, get-rich-quick schemes that only erode character and confidence. They misunderstand the spiritual economy. To gain wealth that endures, you must first grow roots that endure. I learned early that patience is more powerful than haste. Crisis does not destroy the disciplined man, it reveals him. In the darkest hours of the oil business, when others fled or panicked, I remained calm, steady, and focused on fundamentals. Those moments forged an unbreakable foundation. I urge you to cultivate the same resilience. Your inner landscape, your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, must be cultivated like a sacred garden. Remove the weeds of doubt, procrastination, and fear. Plant seeds of faith, discipline, and vision. Every morning, read this psalm. Every morning, remind yourself that you are not the chaff to be blown away by circumstance. You are the tree planted by the rivers of water, nourished daily by purpose and practice. Do this until your mind no longer wanders into negativity, until your decisions flow from peace, not panic. And let me be clear, this is not easy. Discipline never is. The world will tempt you with ease, distractions, and the promise of immediate gratification. Resist fiercely. There is no wealth without sacrifice, no empire without discipline. But here is the promise, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Prosperity is not random. It is earned by those who build their lives in alignment with these principles. This psalm is your weapon against chaos, your blueprint for dominion. your daily reminder that the power to create lasting wealth begins within. And now, reflect for a moment. What counsel have you been following that leads you nowhere? What distractions have you allowed into your inner court that rob you of your peace and your power? Identify them. Reject them. Choose instead the counsel of clarity, purpose, and faith. This is not just a spiritual exercise. It is a practical strategy for life, for business, for legacy. When you master this, you will find that opportunities align themselves around you. Doors will open where there were walls. People will seek your counsel because you operate from a place of rooted strength. Your wealth will grow not just in dollars, but in character, influence, and peace. Remember, riches that come without character are fragile, but riches grown in discipline and faith are unbreakable. The psalm you now hold as your foundation is more than scripture. It is a manual for victory. I promise you, if you will walk this path with relentless commitment, your harvest will come. So stand now, not as a leaf drifting with every wind, but as a mighty tree, planted, rooted, and flourishing. This is your calling. Listen carefully, for I am about to reveal a truth that many overlook, yet it is the very foundation upon which all lasting empires are built. This truth is the delicate balance, the harmony between faith and action. It is the secret that separates those who merely dream of wealth from those who build it, who preserve it, and who pass it on as a legacy. Too often, faith is misunderstood. Many see faith as a passive wish, a hopeful prayer whispered in the dark, followed by waiting, hoping that fortune will descend like a miracle. They think faith means sitting idly by, dreaming of riches without stirring a finger to work, without discipline or sacrifice. But that is not the kind of faith that builds empires. That is fantasy. True faith is not a passive force. It is a dynamic power that moves the soul to action, a fire that fuels discipline, focus, and persistence. It is the steady hand that grips the plow and keeps on turning the soil, even when the earth is hard and unyielding. True faith is the armor against despair, the quiet strength in moments of doubt, the unshakable confidence in the unseen, which presses forward when all visible signs say to retreat. Psalm 1 speaks of the blessed man who meditates day and night upon the law of the Lord, and it promises that whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. This is the perfect marriage of inner and outer life, the man who reflects deeply, who aligns his spirit with purpose, but also moves with deliberate, disciplined action. Meditation alone, silent thought, quiet reflection, is empty if it does not compel deeds. And deeds alone, without the guiding light of spiritual wisdom, become hollow ambition, often destructive and fleeting. In my own life, when I set about building the Standard Oil Company, I was not blind to the challenges ahead. I encountered fierce competition, ruthless opponents, betrayals, and setbacks that could have broken lesser men. But my faith gave me the endurance to keep going when the road darkened and the winds howled. My discipline gave me the tools to act decisively, with precision and calm. That interplay, the meeting of faith with action, forged the success that history remembers. It is what I want you to embrace as you seek your own fortunes. You must be prepared to say no, every day, to distractions, temptations, and false counsel. You must say yes, with clarity and conviction, to your mission and your purpose. You must root yourself deeply in your faith, in the principles that guide your life, and then take deliberate steps in the world. Even when the path is steep and uncertain, the road to wealth is neither short nor easy. It demands patience, resilience, and a vision that reaches beyond the immediate. Yet the man who walks this road with unshakable faith and purposeful action is like a tree planted by the river, nourished, steady, and fruitful. No storm can uproot him, no drought can wither him. The law of the Lord, the order, the discipline, the wisdom of divine principle is not an obstacle to wealth. It is its foundation. To prosper in business, to endure crisis, to build a legacy, you must govern your emotions. You must master your mind. You must align your purpose with the greater good, with service to others. I lived by this creed. I saved rigorously. I reinvested with wisdom and caution. I refused to gamble with what I could not control, while others sought quick gains and momentary advantage. I built systems and processes that outlasted trends, that created economies of scale, that turned modest gains into vast empires. The Psalm's promise is not made to the reckless, but to the resolute. Therefore, I encourage you to build your life on 3 pillars: discipline, clarity, and faith. This trinity forms roots so strong no storm can break them. Without these, your wealth is as fragile as glass. With them, your legacy is unbreakable. Now, I invite you to meditate deeply on this question. How will you balance faith with action? Today, what discipline will you strengthen, and what distractions will you cast away? This question is no mere reflection. It is a crossroads. Your answer marks the turning point between passing dreams and lasting reality. Let Psalm 1 be your anchor. Speak it, live it, build your empire upon it. You do not walk this path alone. I am with you, step by step, through every trial and triumph. Together, we will build not just fortunes, but forests, mighty groves of men and women who do not drift, like chaff on the wind, but stand firm, bearing fruit in their seasons. This is the kingdom of wealth that endures, built on faith, discipline, and purpose. The choice is yours. Walk wisely. We have spoken of faith and action, but now I must bring your attention to a vital aspect, too often neglected: the discipline of managing your own mind and emotions. True wealth is not merely the accumulation of dollars or assets. It is mastery over the inner forces that shape your decisions, your habits, your destiny. I have witnessed countless fortunes rise and fall, not because of markets or competitors, but because their owners lost control of anger, impatience, greed, or fear. The man who cannot master himself is doomed to be a slave to circumstance. This is where Psalm 1's teaching on meditation becomes practical. Meditating day and night upon what is true, good, and ordered is not mere piety. It is the formation of mental discipline. It is training your mind to resist the chaos of fleeting emotions and external noise. When you discipline your thoughts, you discipline your actions. I built my fortune by refusing to be driven by momentary excitement or despair. When rumors of oil busts swept through towns, I stayed calm. When competitors tried to provoke me into rash moves, I kept to my course. That the psalmist's image of a tree planted by rivers of water is perfect. Such a tree draws nourishment from a constant, steady source, and does not flail helplessly with every breeze. Your mind must become that tree. You cultivate this by establishing habits that reinforce peace and clarity, reading wisdom daily, journaling your goals and progress, prayer or meditation on principles of integrity and purpose. I kept ledgers, not only of money, but of time and effort. I held myself accountable, tracking each small step. This discipline transformed my vision into reality. Understand this: wealth is a byproduct of order. When your mind, your spirit, and your actions are aligned, prosperity follows naturally. Do not let emotion rule your decisions. Do not chase every shiny opportunity without scrutiny. Learn to say no. Learn to wait. Learn to build foundations strong enough to bear heavy loads. You may ask, but how do I develop this discipline? How do I avoid despair when storms come? The answer is in the daily practice of returning to your foundation, the law of the Lord, your chosen principles. When fear whispers, you answer with faith. When doubt rises, you answer with clarity of vision. This is not weakness. It is strength beyond circumstance. I have walked through crises that would have shattered many men, yet my roots held firm, because I had built my inner fortress of discipline, clarity, and faith. Let this be your charge today. Build that fortress. Guard your mind as you would your treasure. Choose carefully what you allow in your thoughts. Cultivate wisdom, patience, and gratitude. The psalm promises fruitfulness, stability, and prosperity, but only to those who walk this disciplined path. Will you walk it? Will you commit to daily meditation, to relentless discipline, to faith that moves you to action? If so, you stand among the blessed. And remember, this is only the beginning. Your wealth, your influence, your legacy are waiting to be grown, one disciplined day at a time. Let the psalm be your guide, your shield, your foundation. And now, I ask you once more, what discipline will you strengthen today to become that steady tree? Answer with purpose. The future is yours to build. As we arrive at this pivotal moment in our journey together, I want you to listen carefully, because what I am about to share is not just advice, it is a calling, the final key that unlocks the full power of the psalm that has guided us. True wealth is not merely the size of your bank account or the number of assets you hold. That kind of wealth is fragile, temporary, and often slips away without warning. No, true wealth is deeper. It is the wealth that endures beyond a lifetime, that shapes communities, and leaves a legacy. It is born not only of discipline, faith, and clarity, but also of responsibility and stewardship. It is the wealth that flows outward, enriching not just your life, but the lives of others. Psalm 1 teaches us to be like a tree planted by rivers of water, steady, nourished, fruitful. But a fruitful tree also provides shade, shelter, and nourishment to others. So must your wealth be a blessing beyond yourself. It is a sacred trust granted by divine providence and earned through your discipline. From my earliest days, I understood that wealth is a tool, not just for comfort or status, but for service and transformation. Wealth hoarded selfishly, or wielded without conscience, becomes destructive. But when anchored in purpose, governed by faith, and managed with discipline, it becomes a mighty river nourishing all it touches. Philanthropy is not mere charity. It is strategic investment in the future, an extension of discipline applied to compassion. Through thoughtful giving, through building institutions that serve education, health, and justice, you multiply your impact exponentially. Great fortunes are measured not only in dollars, but in the transformation they bring to society. This transformation reflects the spiritual order Psalm 1 teaches. Your meditation on this psalm must be holistic. It shapes your habits, your discipline, your business, but also your vision for how your wealth serves the world. Ask yourself, how will my wealth serve the greater good? How will I use the influence I build to create opportunities for others and leave a legacy of blessing? Answer this seriously, it will determine your prosperity and your peace. True peace comes when your wealth aligns with your highest values and deepest purpose. Psalm 1 promises, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. This includes your generosity, leadership, and stewardship. The legacy you build is the final fruit of your tree, the mark you leave on the world, the gift to future generations. This is the highest calling of wealth, stewardship that transforms riches into instruments of lasting good. As you walk this path, let discipline meet humility, faith meet wisdom, clarity meet compassion. You are more than a seeker of riches. You are a steward of a sacred trust. Your wealth is a garden. The seeds you plant today will grow the forests of tomorrow. Walk this path with courage and purpose, standing on the shoulders of those who came before, building the foundation for those who will follow. The power to create lasting wealth lies in your daily choices, disciplined actions, and unwavering commitment to eternal principles. The Psalm's promise is yours if you will walk its path with steadfast heart. Now I ask you, what legacy will you build with the wealth you cultivate? How will your prosperity bless not only yourself but the world? Reflect deeply. This is your moment of truth. If you are ready to commit to this path, discipline, faith, and stewardship, I invite you to take the first step right now. Share in the comments what discipline you will strengthen today, what vision you are committing to, or what legacy you want to build. If this teaching has moved you, Subscribe to join me on this journey toward true wealth and wisdom. Together, we will build more than fortunes. We will build legacies. Remember, your journey toward lasting wealth has only just begun. Walk forward with faith, discipline, and purpose.